MMA Fighting presents Timeline, Tyron Woodley vs. Darren Till.
February 2nd, 2013. UFC 156, Aldo vs. Edgar in Las Vegas. After a very impressive run in Strikeforce with 8 wins and 1 loss, including wins over Tarek Saffiedine, Jordan Meehan, and Paul Daly, Tyron Woodley's first opponent in the UFC cage is Jay Hieron. Woodley wins by KO at just 36 seconds into the first round.
You Strikeforce guys coming into the UFC. Right now you're 3-0 on this card. Do you come in with a little bit of a, I need to prove something here. We're not the minor leagues, sort of like the WC guys a couple of years ago.
I mean, you have to. I mean, it's for several different reasons. Like I said before, I got to prove it for myself. You coming over to the top of the top. You can't come over here with lackluster performances because guys going to be like, see, this is not Strikeforce, this is a UFC. So, I came in and did what I had to do. I'm blessed that it came out that way. And I'm going to just get back in the gym and train, man. It was a 30-40 second fight. March 16th, it's a lot of welterweights on that card. My passport is current. If somebody slip on a banana peel, God forbid, I want to in.
So you say you want a top 5 guy. You're ready for the upper echelon.
No, I don't want to do the pity patter. If I'm gonna put it all on the line, everybody in this division is tough. If I'm gonna risk it, I want to be a top guy. I don't want to get closer to Georges St. Pierre.
June 15th, 2013, UFC 161, Evans vs. Henderson. Woodley's next fight takes him to Winnipeg, where he would face fellow Strikeforce alumni and top 5 ranked Jake Shields. Despite winning 30-27 on one judge's scorecard, Woodley is on the losing end of a split decision.
November 16th, 2013, UFC 167, St. Pierre vs. Hendricks, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Woodley is matched up against longtime UFC welterweight Josh Koscheck. Woodley wins by brutal knockout in the first round. Victory would also earn Woodley his first knockout of the night bonus.
What's funny is I visualize that. I visualize me dropping him, hitting him, and standing up with my hands up. Literally, no exaggeration. I visualize that because, to be honest, if you hit him again, he might wake up and get right back to scrambling. So I visualize me cracking him, him hitting the ground, and when it happened, I knew I didn't have to hit him again.
Do you feel like you're going to get a top guy now after a win like this?
Who knows? I can make my claim that I should be fighting for the title next. Who knows? These guys can lose. Everybody can shuffle this deck up, and I'm the guy off with a good knockout. So I want to fight for the title, man. In 6 months, I want to be in the cage against whoever it is, if it's Johnny, if it's freaking GSP. But I feel like, you're meant to be the best. You're meant to train to be at the top of the top, and I think that's what I'm doing right now.
March 15th, 2014, UFC 171, Hendricks vs. Lawler in Dallas, Texas. For the first time in the UFC, Woodley is featured as the co-main event for a major pay-per-view. He is fighting Carlos, the natural-born killer, Condit. In the first round, Woodley drops Condit. In the second round, Woodley wins the bout after Condit snaps his ACL, defending a takedown.
I think if you break somebody's arm in the armbar, if you choke them out, they don't tap. It wasn't like, he came in with a pre-existing injury. It came from a double leg takedown. I saw that he was hurt, and I went for the finish, I think I was dominating the fight, and, that's a tough guy to dominate in general. So I went out there. I asked for this fight, because I didn't think I was going to lose it. You guys fail to realize that I'm in this to be a world champion, and I went out to the top guy when everybody was so quiet, and I blew this man's phone up until he probably couldn't take it anymore because I want to be the world champion. I think that alone, that persistence, warrants me a world title shot.
June 14th, 2014, UFC 174. Johnson vs. Bogatinov. Booked in his second consecutive co-main event, Woodley will face Rory MacDonald in what many believe to be a fight for the number 1 contender spot.
We're here on enemy territory, Rory MacDonald, things like that. How are we gonna finish this guy? How's it gonna happen?
Why y'all want to make it enemy and me?
What is enemy? You are the bad guy here.
Everybody's an enemy when you fight.
Yeah, but he's the guy.
To who?
He's the hometown guy.
I don't think so.
So do you think they like?
I think a lot of the fans want to see me win.
Fair enough.
I think it's going to be a split crowd, and I really, truly, honestly believe that. I think he's a good fighter, but I think I'm not going to get booed like everybody thinks.
MacDonald wins the exhaustive match. The loss would be a significant setback for Woodley's title run. August 23rd, UFC Fight Night 48, Bisping vs. Lee. Woodley makes a quick return to the cage. He faces top 10 welterweight Dong Hyun Kim on short notice across the Pacific in Macau. Woodley returns to his winning ways with the performance of the night KO of Kim in only 61 seconds. January 31st, 2015, UFC 183, Silva vs. Diaz. Woodley is matched up against top 10 ranked Kelvin Gastelum.
I said it before, you can delay, but you can't deny. I don't want the title shot. That's a soundbite. That's somebody that heard 50,000 other fighters say that, I want the next title shot. That means you want a chance to fight in the world title fight. They didn't say you want to win. They didn't say you want to be the best. I will consistently be top 10 welterweights, and I will be the best fighter in the world at 170, and I feel like that's how you become that. You don't ask for title shots. You don't say, I want the title shot. I'm going to be the world champion, and then it's just a matter of time.
Despite Gastelum weighing in at 180 pounds, Woodley still accepts the fight. Woodley wins the fight by split decision.
You know, the kid lost, had his first loss. He's not going to get his win bonus. Dana White's probably yelled at him. His coaches probably yelled at him. He's probably pissed off by himself. So I just can't find it in my heart to do that right now. But I got the win. I had a good performance, and I feel good about it. But when you are a professional in a professional sport, you have to do professional things. And I was just frustrated at the situation because for me, I had, put everything differently in this camp. And, I felt like, I put some good things together. And weight cut was, my last 3 weight cuts has been tough. I was like, damn, man, I got, the last 3 pounds looked like they didn't want to come off, but I always get them off no matter what.
And one of the big things I think that he meant that he's not saying is yesterday when he and I were talking, I got to know if there's a fight. Are you accepting him with the 10-pound difference? And he's saying, I feel like this thing's coming down on me now. Like I'm in trouble, or you're acting like I did something wrong, which I wasn't. I'm asking him if he wants to fight or not, but he's right. He's right in that, now he has to make a decision whether he wants to fight a kid that weighs 10 pounds more than him the day of the weigh-in. And then he's got to make the decision like that yesterday. It's a tough decision to make. I understand the position he was in, and I respect him for taking the fight.
May 30th, 2015. UFC Fight Night 67, Condit vs. Alves, Goiânia, Brazil. The undefeated Darren Till makes his UFC debut against Wendell Oliveira. Till wins by knockout in the second round.
Obviously the plan was stand with this guy, make him look silly. His striking ability is nothing compared to mine. Obviously in the first round I was missing a lot of shots because I wasn't finding my range, UFC first fight, so I was a bit nervous. But then in the second round I relaxed and then it was all mine. But he tried to take me down. It didn't happen, which I knew wouldn't. I kept the lock in. He fell to his back, so I got into half guard with him, and he was open for some elbows, so the first elbow cut him. His face sort of wobbled, and then from there, I knew I had the knockout. I don't shy away, and when the opportunity came, UFC, I grabbed it by the balls. I just want to be the best fighter. That's all I want. There's nothing, anything less, there's no exception. It's not sufficient for me. The goal is to be the best. I want the belt, I want everything, but I just want to be the best fighter. That's all.
When you went to the octagon today, there was a lot of talk on Twitter about your tattoo. People thought it was a Paige Van Zandt in your tattoo. Is that Paige Van Zandt?
No, it's not. It's my girl. It was a surprise for her birthday. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna get a tattoo of her face. Yeah, this is my tattoo. It's not Paige Van Damme. I don't even know who that is.
October 24th, 2015, UFC Fight Night 76, Houlihan vs. Smolka, Dublin, Ireland. Darren Till makes his return to the UFC cage against Danish fighter Nicholas Dalby. Till and Dalby fight to majority draw. Till would go on to defeat Justin Ayari by unanimous decision at UFC Fight Night 109, Gustafsson vs. Teixeira in Stockholm, Sweden. Then at UFC Fight Night 115, Struve vs. Volkov in Rotterdam, Till would get another unanimous decision victory over Bojan Velichkovic.
July 30th, 2016, UFC 201, Lawler vs. Woodley. Tyron Woodley finally receives his title shot in Atlanta, Georgia.
And what I believe is that everybody who has counted me out in this fight, you got Wonder Woman already talking about he think a matchup with him and Robbie is great. What's going to happen is I'm going to win this fight. Wonder Boy get an opportunity to fight Robbie as he wanted, right? That was the matchup everybody want to see. He'll get that in a non-title fight. And I'll be looking to fight George St. Pierre. I'll be looking to fight Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz. This being anybody who's going to reel in the big dough, it's time for the chosen one to get paid. I am the person that you don't have to work. You can give me a 16th of the boost you give a Conor or Ronda. I do it by myself, you know what I mean? I was on the set of Fast and the Furious, so UFC didn't set that up.
Yeah.
So it's time for people to start realizing what I bring to the table, how good I am for the organization, how good I am for the young teen African-American kid that's struggling, that found a way out, how good I am for the entertainment aspect, the analyst aspect. Every aspect you think of, family, childhood, I grew up in Ferguson. Why do I have to work so hard to get these things out?
Finally, and what a story that is. Have you envisioned what it will feel like when Dana White puts that belt around your waist? Like, do you feel it? Do you dream about that moment? What do you think it's going to be like?
No, that's why I like you. I asked Anthony Pettis this. We were training, sparring with my man Biggie and Gerald, and I stopped and I looked at Anthony and I said, what did it feel like when Dana White came behind you and he put that belt around your waist? He said, man, I felt like I was a man. At that moment, you know it's worth all the sacrifice. You know it's worth everything. And you are the best welterweight in the world.
Woodley wins by first round KO.
Being a champion is the first step, you know, and I'm at that point. Now I want to reign over the division, and I want to go out there. It's money in the sport now. It's a lot of eyeballs on the sport. We didn't sell for $4 billion for nothing. People see something in it. So I want to go out there, and I want to start providing for my family and leaving a legacy behind. So I think guys like Nick Diaz, I would love to get an opportunity to make that money. And also, Georges St. Pierre is the #1 welterweight of all times. You know, you can't say you're the best in the world and you've never fought him before. So if that happened, that would be a huge honor. Is no disrespect to these guys. They both know I respect them. You know, I talked to George a couple days ago, and he told me, believe in yourself, you can do it. When I got into this sport, it was too hard of a sport not to be chasing for gold. So I always felt in my mind that I would be the champion. It was sometimes throughout my career where I was like, man, I know I got the tools. Why wouldn't I let go? You know, I talked to Pat Miletich. She said, just let the chains go. You're the best athlete in the sport. And it takes guys telling you that training. And one day it just clicked and I said, you know what? I'm the best welterweight in the world. And that's why my whole presser was that one line, I'm the best welterweight in the world, because at that moment it really sunk in that I possess the best tools, I'm the fastest, I have the power, I have the aggression, I got the mindset, and I can play the chess game well. So when that clicked in, I just really felt confident that I was going to win this fight.
November 12, 2016, UFC 205, Alvarez vs. McGregor, New York City, New York. Tyron Woodley defends his belt for the first time as the co-main event against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
You can boo if you want, but there's one thing you have to call me. You have to call me the welterweight champion of the world. And I knocked out the most vicious welterweight, the fighter of the year with fights of the year in record-breaking time. So you have to respect me no matter what. And I gave you a chance to boo. Let me finish my statement. And my legacy, #1, does not depend on what an individual thinks of me. I'm a high-level athlete. My resume speaks for itself. And I will fight Wonderboy November 12th, and everybody will see why I'm the best welterweight in the world.
It's in the co-main event. Tyron Woodley fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson for the welterweight title. It was Tyron Woodley's first title defense. Initially, Bruce Buffer announces Woodley as the champion via split decision, but then in a bizarre scene, straight out of Steve Harvey's playbook, they come back and announce a majority draw. Two judges scored it 47-47. One judge had it 48-47 for Tyron Woodley. Majority draw, so he retains the title, but he doesn't walk away with that W. Do you agree with the two judges that scored it a draw, or the one judge who had it for Woodley, or none of them?
I actually had a different score.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderboy, wonderful.
Okay.
All those scores are actually, I think, acceptable. I had it 48-46 for Woodley. I thought he had a 10-8 in the fourth round when he nearly finished on multiple occasions, Wonderboy.
It was a tough fight. I thought I won the fight. I thought, the fourth round, I believe when I almost had him finished, I thought they probably should have stopped the fight. I saw his eyes roll back. I was surprised they didn't stop it. It looks like in Eddie's fight, they stopped it a little bit sooner than mine. But, you keep fighting, you keep pushing forward. He's a tough guy. He recovered. I think I punched him one more time and woke him back up. And he revived with some energy. So just in general, it was just a back and forth fight. And when they said that, I looked over like, hell no, I'm not about to give my belt away because I did not lose this fight. So I just felt real confident I won the fight. And I was just kind of a little bummed, that it was a draw because I felt like I clearly won the fight. Who's ever had a good time hitting Wonderboy?
know everyone.
Who's ever hit him like I did and almost finished him in that manner. I did a great training camp. I had guys, Chris Bang, former Strikeforce, UFC veteran. He mimicked him to a T. I was so damn tired of seeing side kicks and crescent kicks and round the corner kicks. You know, I was to the point where you saw I didn't get kicked one time in the head. I only got kicked in the leg a couple times. So I was overly prepared for that. I trained with Raymond Daniels. I trained with Sage Northcutt. I engrossed myself into his martial art because many people aren't even able to stop his first attack. So what do you do when you stop the first attack and you go to the second or third attack? So I put myself into that world, and you know, I just felt like I had to be patient. I know the fans didn't appreciate it at times, but if you think about a 31-foot octagon, if I'm pushing him forward every single time, he can bag up and counter strike. But when I put myself against the octagon, I got 31 foot to drive his, I was going to say a curse word, drive his butt across the octagon and get the job done.
March 4th, 2017, UFC 209, Woodley vs. Thompson 2, Las Vegas, Nevada. The welterweight champion Tyron Woodley once again faces Stephen Thompson. This time, as the main event for UFC 209 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Are you feeling a lot of negativity this week?
I feel like some people are gearing questions towards me that deserve a negative response, but I just say I'm the greatest welterweight of all time, and I'm just going to prove it back to back to back.
Are you enjoying this? Are you enjoying being, front and center, main event, headliner, or is this kind of a nuisance to you?
I'm just here to fight, man. I'm here to fight, here to close this chapter of my career, go out there and dominate Wonderboy, and that's it. I'm not here for no, all the fame and all that other stuff. I'm here to kick butt and walk away. Well, a lot of people, it's a different set of rules for a lot of fighters. If I mention a super fighter, if I mention fighting George St. Pierre, who was the best guy in my weight class, then all of a sudden I'm just this, Tyron wanted to pick fights. But it's okay for a guy like Michael Bisping after his first title win, he can fight Dan Henderson, who was outside the top 15, and he can fight a guy that was a welterweight champion. And it's a different set of rules. Even with Eddie Alvarez, he declined Khabib 2 or 3 times, and he got to fight Conor McGregor. So, with that said, if they think I'm hard to deal with now, wait until Sunday.
Do you feel like you are the greatest welterweight of all time, even though you don't have as many title defenses as GSP?
I feel like I'm the greatest welterweight of all time because I'm the hardest punching, I'm the best wrestler. I think I'm the most well-rounded, and GSPs don't want to fight me. GSP, one of the reasons he left the sport because of concussion. He's talking about going down to 55. He's going up to, 185. Michael Bisping hasn't been known to be the power striker to knock your head off your head. And I think he's avoiding fighting me. So,
Sean, let's talk about the main event. It was an interesting one. At times, it was an uneventful one. Certainly did not live up to the hype from their first fight. Their first fight, we remind you, was the fight of the night at UFC 205, one of the best cards of the year. This one was not the fight of the night. How did you score it? That obviously is the topic of discussion immediately afterwards.
So this is a weird question for me because I was cage side, and this was a very difficult fight to score cage side because there was so little going on. The first round, if you just look at the fight metric stats, it's 5 strikes to 6 strikes, and it felt like that. And then the second round was 8-8, and again, it felt that slow. And so just being there in media row, it was actually the first 10-10 that I've ever given for the first round, and then second round, nothing really changed. I gave it another 10-10. I've never done that before, but I just can't justify giving anybody the edge in those rounds, and then I ended up. So I think my final score was 49-48 for Woodley. I can't remember exactly. I think it was.
So let's just say the first 2 rounds are a wash.
Yeah.
Who do you give the 3rd, 4th, and 5th to?
Trying to remember. So Woodley got the takedown in the 3rd, so I gave him the 3rd, and then Wonderboy the 4th, and then Woodley obviously got the 5th.
Now, did you score the 5th with 10-8?
I didn't, but the thing with me in these 10-10s is because that 5th round, I in no way, shape, or form, I don't care what the rules say, in no way, shape, or form can I justify giving that 5th round the same score as a first round or a second round. We're literally nothing. Right. There was no upper hand gain between them. If Tyron's on the verge of knocking out Wonderboy, that to me is not the same score as the first and the second round.
Does it frustrate you or even matter when Dana was in here earlier and said that he basically wasn't impressed and he's kind of frustrated and he said he doesn't know what's going to happen with y'all next?
Well, I want to see Dana get in there and fight Wonderboy. Watch everybody else that walked in there. Watch Patrick Cote. Watch Robert Whitaker. Watch all these guys that thought they were just going to bulldoze him and they disrespected his style. I did the opposite. I embraced his style. I brought in the world champion currently, Avery Plowden, in his weight division. I brought in Sage Northcutt. I brought in Chris Bang. I brought in tons of guys in the actual sport fighting world, Raymond Daniels, and you can't disrespect that style. What happens is you think you got it figured out, and kicks and punches come from weird angles, and you find yourself without this, and you find yourself knocked out. So I know, this is a sport where you guys love to see knockouts, you love to see the glory, you love to see blood, guys getting beat up, and then he find a way to come back, and then other guy, the teeter. I love it. I love watching it as well. But guess what? I love being the world champion, and sometimes it's not the sexiest fight on earth.
July 29th, 2017, UFC 214, Cormier vs. Jones 2, Anaheim, California. Tyron Woodley is set to defend his title against former middleweight title challenger Demian Maia.
At the end of the day, that's what happened when fighters start looking too far down the road. You get your ass whooped. You think about Georges St. Pierre. I got Demian Maia, who's on a 7-fight win streak. Everybody who has a great answer, just don't let him take you down. He still takes him down and get on their back and beats them. So with that said, it's not in stone. I've never seen a bout agreement. Georges St. Pierre hasn't communicated to me or my management team that we're fighting next. So with that said, in victory over Demian Maia, that opened up doors for everything else. In defeat, there's no Georges St. Pierre, there's no Nick Diaz, there's no other fight after that. So for all you guys, I really don't want to talk about George. George know where the fuck I'm at. If he wanted to fight me, Demian Maia would have never been in this spot. It would have been me and George. So I think he's playing games. He was on a podcast earlier this week talking to Bisping about fighting Bisping. So let me focus on Demian Maia. Let's give him the respect that he deserves. He's a world-class fighter. Though the fans don't appreciate jiu-jitsu, even though it's built the UFC, I respect jiu-jitsu. I respect what he brings to the table. I don't want to talk about Conor, Floyd, or fucking Georges St. Pierre. I'm just being real.
Tyron Woodley defeats Demian Maia. Most people had it 5 rounds to none. Some maybe gave Maia 1 round. It was an interesting fight early on, and then the fans really got frustrated, and there were loud boos at the end of the 4th and 5th rounds. What did you make of it? Dana White very critical of Woodley. Once again, Woodley forced to defend himself, dominant but not spectacular and flashy. What did you make of the fight?
It's a really hard one because it wasn't a great fight. I think we can all admit that was not a great fight, not a good fight. It was a fight. There was a lot of inactivity during the fight, but I can't begrudge Tyron Woodley. I just cannot find myself begrudging Tyron Woodley for doing this because Demian Maia, we just saw him reel off 7 straight wins against top-tier competition. He makes everyone look bad on the ground. And Tyron Woodley was able to stuff 24 takedowns out of 24 takedown attempts. And he executed the perfect strategy. He had a strategy going in, he had a game plan, and he executed it to a T. And he won the fight. And at the end of the day, I know that I say it's entertainment all the time. It is entertainment, but it is still a sport too. There's some there, very, very much so. You gotta win. If you're the champion, you want to keep the belt. And Tyron really did that. And he did that against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in his last fight too. So I have a hard time begrudging him for this. Do I wish it was more exciting? Sure. Do I wish he took some more risks? Of course. Like Dana White said, no risk, no reward. But end of the day, Tyron Woodley keeps the title, wins the fight, and beats a guy who is on this incredible run, who is one of the best jiu-jitsu specialists in the history of the sport. Yeah. So I have a hard time begrudging him for that.
Shit, I thought it was a great performance. You got a guy on a 7-fight win streak. He's taking out all 7 opponents, world-class guys, got on their back, submitted them. Very resilient, very persistent on his attack. I was able to go out there and stop everything. How many takedowns did he try?
I think we saw 24 at one point.
24 tried, 24 denied. So I think we need to look at the different stats. This is my 4th title fight in 12 months. He shot 24 times. And thinking of how many different top-class welterweights he would have been able to put on the ground. He was not able to do any of that on me. I felt good. I felt my conditioning was great. We accepted this fight 4 weeks ago. And man, I felt amazing. Sometimes I think those shorter camps are better. So me and my coaches were happy. I know our fans, they want to see blood, they want to see cuts, they want to see a back and forth exchange. You also have to recognize that I'm fighting specialists. Stephen Thompson, I'm not going to sit out there and try to outspin kick him. I'm not going to try to take down Demian Maia and prove that, hey, it's time for me to get a black belt. The brown belt's going to take you down and go for the submission. So I felt like it was a very tactical fight. I felt like I did everything, stuck to the game plan, and I walk around with my head up, man, and the belt still around my waist.
October 21st, 2017, UFC Fight Night 118, Cowboy vs. Till, Dansk, Poland. Darren Till takes on top 10 welterweight Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
And you got one, Darren Till.
Got
What
it.
do you know about Darren Till?
Absolutely nothing.
Have you ever heard of Darren Till?
No.
Never.
No.
Honestly, he just fought on Saturday.
I know, but I didn't.
Never seen his fights.
Never seen his fights.
Don't know where he's from.
Don't know where he's from. Not bagging the dude.
Yeah.
I just, fuck, I don't know anybody. So,
So why'd you say yes?
Come on.
So Darren Till, have you had a chance to look him up since accepting the fight?
No. My grandma sent me a thing this morning all mad, like, he called you a cunt. And I said, no, Grandma, that's just how they speak over there. Like that, he was just
Mad who?
mad, like she was upset. Like he posted something on Twitter, said, I'll fight any cunt.
Okay.
And she sent it to me like, cut. And I was like, no, that's just how they speak. Like, it doesn't mean any harm. So that's the only thing I've seen of him.
Till wins by first round knockout.
You have a performance like that, you go through a legend, you called it, and then some. In my opinion, you exceeded your own expectations that you put out there. I mean, that was a star-making performance. Dana White is calling you the future. Everyone's talking about you. What's it like 2 days later? Does it feel like your life has changed?
No, Ariel, I've visualized this for a long time now, and I'm just living in the moment. I'm not taking anything for granted. There's just one thing I do know is that if MMA will not be the same when I've finished with it. I know I'm going to take over this whole game. I know that for a fact.
May 27th, 2018, UFC Fight Night 130, Thompson versus Till, Liverpool, England. Darren Till is set to face former title contender and top 5 welterweight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in Till's hometown of Liverpool.
By the way, how much you weigh right now?
Oh, mate, what do you think? I'm a
I
little
don't
big.
know. I don't want to insult you.
I reckon about 94, 95 kg.
Yeah. Wow. So you're like pushing 200 pounds or so.
More, 200 pounds is 90, so that's like what, 210,
Wow.
215.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm not on anyone's level.
Where would you put yourself? Like, are you like Wonder Boy?
I am the best striker in the welterweight division. There's no doubt about it, Ariel.
Who right now do you see as like, okay, this will be my guy, like my foil once I get to the top? Do you see anyone right now who's close to you?
I think like if I had to pick, I think like Wonderboy and Woodley. I think they're the two hardest fights.
Okay.
I think Woodley because he's such a powerful guy. He's a powerful wrestler, and you know he does hit hard. And just because Thompson, you know, he's a really great striker. So I think them two. But apart from that, I don't see anyone.
Some people have accused Woodley of, you know, now that he's a champ, he kind of plays it safe. Do you believe that?
Well, it doesn't fucking matter. If he wins the fight, he wins the fight.
Yeah.
That's the mindset of a loser right there. It does not matter how he fights. Obviously, he's not going to get these crazy big pay-per-views from Dana because no one wants to watch him. But if you can't beat the fucking champion, that's it. So that's a loser's mindset. It doesn't matter how Tyron fights. If Tyron beats you, he beats you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if he runs away from Damien for 5 rounds, as people said. He won the fight, so he won.
But do you think there's truth to it?
To which?
To playing it safe?
Well, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
But as I've said, I'm not Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
When I go out there...
Would you do that?
I just go out to fucking fight. I don't give a fuck. I don't go out thinking, shit, well, I need to be safe and just try and grind a 5-round win out here. I don't think like that. I just go out to strike and fight. Like, my area is not wrestling or jiu-jitsu. My area is fucking hating people. That's my area. I get a thrill of fucking hating people and getting hit back. So for me, I don't think about them things. But all these people saying, well, he's playing it safe. You know, even Dana said it doesn't really matter because he's winning the fights.
Right.
Obviously, Tyron's not going to become a big draw fighting like that, but he's still a champ. No one's been able to beat him.
Till would come in at 174.5 pounds at the weigh-ins, 3.5 pounds over the limit.
First of all, I just want to apologise first for missing weight. Shit happens, so I'm sorry about that. But make no mistake, I still believe I am the greatest, and tomorrow I know I can finish Stephen Thompson. He's all respect in the world, but I'm too good. I'm just too intelligent, and I know I'm going to win him. Look at this, it's in Liverpool now, yes.
Darren Till wins a closely contested decision.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say, for starters, I missed weight, so I don't feel like I deserve a title shot. Anyway, I missed weight, so there you go, right away. I don't deserve the next shot at the title. Still feel that Stephen probably deserves it. Maybe whoever wins out of the interim, maybe Stephen or Usman, they deserve it more. I've just said this, I'm a fucking realist, and I'll always stay this way. I still want to beat them all in the division. You know, when I come back, I want to put that weight thing behind me.
September 8, 2018, UFC 228, Woodley vs. Till, Dallas, Texas. The challenger, Darren Till, will take on the champion, Tyron Woodley, for the UFC welterweight championship at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas.
We just had the stare down, Darren. What did you see when you kind of looked in his eyes, sized him up, I guess, for the first time?
I always tell the truth, no fear. He's not scared, nothing like that. You know, he's the champion.
I like that.
I'll make weight, don't you worry about
like
that. He's the champion, you know, respect as the champion, but that doesn't change anything. You know, I'm still coming to knock him clean out on September 8th.
I like that, and I'm glad he saw it, because I saw the same thing, and this is going to be a war. I looked him in his eye, I saw no bitch there, he ready to fight, he ready to go to war, and let's get it on.